Okay, unrehearsed video, making this for some friends really, but I'm going to post it online. Just received this. It's some laser cutting that I ordered online from a company called Razorlab in the UK. I believe they are closely related to a company called Pinoco. Just wanted to demonstrate what happens when you order. There's a delicious smell of burned plastic. Right, so these are just some grids, and they've included all the tiny little squares that were removed from the grid. So quality of the cutting. So these grids are perfect. I know from experience. I've had a bunch of them made already. They precisely match the Inkscape drawing I made. Oh look, the template's coming off. So there's a paper template on there. Not quite sure why there is always a paper template. Presumably it's related to the way they set up your request on their cutter. Anyway, it's quite interesting. You can see that there are places where the laser moves more slowly and things get more burned, but these black acrylic grids, I think the kerf, which is the cutting gap, I believe it's 0.15 of a mil, which is pretty good. So you can account for that in your diagram. So what you're seeing there is double that, because I'm pulling this down into the bottom left corner. So in the top right you can see double 0.15 on the top gap and the left gap, but as you can see there's incredibly little play in this piece, but they just drop out because the cuts are so straight. The beam is very straight. Okay, so why am I making grids? Making grids because I got into the ridiculous hobby of making keyboards a while back. So I keep getting these grids cut. These edges, I'll try and set this up for the camera. These edges have got this isn't a radius, which isn't anything to do with the cutting process. This radius is because I specified a very small radius. The finish is very consistent. The actual, if we peel away this protective layer that's on this 3mm acrylic, you can choose from a bunch of different materials on their website. But if I peel away, come on, there it goes. Fingernails for days. As you can see, I mean, these grids, as an apprentice of many years ago, I found it quite unsettling as someone who's cut this kind of thing out of sheet aluminium and then through piercing, filing and use of needle files tried and to some extent succeeded in producing grids like this to mount components in, maybe for the knobs and LEDs for small projects. I know how hard it is to get this kind of thing right, and to be able to just order these up time and time again and time again get exactly the same thing. There we are. I've just had to align them a bit, but they are absolutely identical, these parts. Laser cutting is pretty cool. I can't remember the dimensions of these, but I obviously made them for key switches. Satisfyingly, the switches pop into place exactly as they're supposed to. That's a Kale speed switch gold for the keebsters out there. That's a Gatoron brown They're probably calling these out faster than I'm able to. And finally, the ubiquitous cherry in brown. But as you can see, right out of the box, those things just push in and they don't, well, right, okay, that's what I should have demonstrated. Let me just pop those back in quickly off camera. I suppose what I should have demonstrated is this. You know, they're not. It's a genuine light interference fit. So I don't know if I can tap those out if I keep on doing this. Maybe. I think the cherry's coming loose if I do that, but that's really exactly what you want. No, it wasn't coming loose. I mean, you can pop them back out if you were just, you know, offering parts up to see what it's going to look like. And, you know, I've made lots of these things and they all come out perfect. So, you know, props to razorlab. I couldn't find anyone else in the UK that would do short runs. I think 2 of these top plates delivered are costing me about £15. Feel free to direct me to somewhere else if you're using a different laser cutter, but personally I would recommend them. They're the only bureau I've tried and I really like it. So, oh yeah, and if you're looking for a cheap or free Illustrator knockoff, Inkscape. See you later.